Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. I'm Lenda Murray, 8 times Ms. Olympia, and you are watching Olympia TV. Thank you for joining us. Special episode. I love this type of episode because we're getting down to the foundation of what our sport's all about. Our special guest, the legendary Kim Oddo, owner of Adela Garcia.
Thank you very much. Way too kind there. But thank you very much.
Legendary. That's this straight up. That's right.
That's a big word, man. That thing scares me.
Yeah, legendary.
Get used to it.
You've been on
I think it's a polite way of saying old.
Whatever.
No.
However you want to view that.
Yeah. Experience.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what it is. And if you, this is why you guys stay tuned through this entire episode. I promise you it will be worth it because experience is everything. It's everything.
Yes. That's about right.
And joining me, the top right there, we have a lot of eights here. And we were just talking about eights. 8 times qualified on the Olympia stage, IFBB Figure Pro, Wendy Fortino.
Hello, everyone. Let's go.
And 8 times Ms. Olympia Fitness, Adela Garcia.
Hey, yay.
I know this is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely fun. Because Adela, you worked with Kim.
Hey, Isabel.
Yeah, we go way back.
That actually would be a really fun way to start. So maybe we could each start off by telling everyone our special connection to Kim, and then we can kind of dive into the rest of it.
Yeah.
So Adela, you start.
Yes.
Your connection to Kim.
So my first connection with Kim, he came to me and I was at the GNC booth and he said, "Hey, can I have an autograph?" And I said, "Yeah." And I gave him an autograph and I put, instead of putting Otto, I put Otto. So, I felt so bad. And then after the fact, he kept it like that. And since then I call him Kim Otto. So, but besides that, actually, I trained with Mike Davies, and Mike Davies and Kim were very good. The coaches back in the days, fitness. Sometimes Mike was not at the show, and I will ask Kim, and I say, "Hey, Kim, do you mind like taking a look at me?" And he's like, "Okay, no problem." And he will always be there. So, I think Kim it's like, I still see him in the sport, and it's just amazing because you don't have the amount of knowledge that he provides to the athletes like nowadays. It is very hard to find a coach that is not only going to be there for you whenever you're winning, but it's going to be there for you when you are not doing as well, when you lose. So we know that we're going to go up and down. This is a relationship that you carry for forever. And with Kim, it's like I see him, I respect him, I admire him for everything he has done in the sport, and he's one of the best coaches I have ever met in my entire career. So yes, we love you, Kimbo.
I have a lot of respect for both you and Mike, and everything you guys accomplished. You had an amazing career. Mike is an amazing coach and a great friend. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for both of you guys and, everything that you guys have accomplished in this industry.
Thank you. So just so you know, so you were part of that too, because when the pieces now were all there, it was so important for me that I have Kim. I have him to look at me. I will not trust anybody else but him to take a look at me. That's how the relationship was between him and Mike, where, there was nothing. Nowadays you probably have a coach be like, "Oh my God, what is happening? Why are you looking at my athlete?" And it was never like that with Kim. So thank you. I truly appreciate it.
I think we trusted each other. We both knew that we always had each other's best interest in mind. We never, ever would have disrespected each other, ever.
That speaks a lot. big time. So
for you guys that don't know, Kim is the original. Like you're the first name that I heard where an athlete said, "Oh, I have a trainer, I have a coach." And people were talking about Kim Oddo. And I knew about Mike Davies because I was living in Michigan and Mike's in Ohio. And I would say what I have in common, first of all, you and I, we've been in this game of the same amount of time. Right?
Yeah, Civil War. Way back there.
In the same amount of time, but you're the first guy. I mean, like he was the first.
Yeah.
And we love your old school like values and
yes.
the way you approach training and working with your clients. So that's what we have in common, because we both competed in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's what we definitely have in common.
I remember following you guys because I was competing in 84, 85, 86, all the way through 95. So I was following, that whole Kim Shistesky, Lenda Murray. I was following you guys. I was just a little peon in the little baby leagues. But I would look up to you guys. I'd be like, I want a rivalry like that one day. I want to be able to, have my time. I knew I was never going to get out the baby leagues. And that's why I went into the coaching end of things. But, you admire the elite athletes, and you admire their hard work and you admire their dedication. And so you follow their careers and you learn from them just as well. There were parts of things that I would read about, because at that time it was all about magazines. So you read about how you trained and what you did and watch all that. So you would pull bits and pieces out of there. Oh yeah, I see how diligent she is about this, or how hardworking how her mentality is about how she puts every ounce into this. And then you would incorporate that into your own training, which then became part of your philosophy and your coaching style. So all these things play a role in how you develop your system. And in that system kind of evolves through the years.
Yes. And so, Wendy, what's your relationship and experience with Kim?
So Kim and I, we go way back. My husband has always coached me since I started in 2008. But I remember I was fighting for my pro card, and I tried in 2009, didn't get it. Tried in 2010, I didn't get it. And I remember I ended up getting on the plane. My husband and I, we ended up getting on the plane with Kim Oddo. And I think it was like before Nationals in 2010. And I got to sit, I think we sat next to each other actually in that whole flight. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that I annoyed the crap out of him because I really took advantage of that. And I know I'm pretty sure I annoyed him, but he was nice. He was really nice. He gave me all kinds of advice and tips. And Matt and I, we were starting our coaching business and everything. So he gave us advice on coaching. He gave me advice on competing. And like Adela, same as you, it's like, if there was anybody that I would trust to like take a second look at me, it was Kim. I mean, he had all the champions. He was the one with all the wisdom. And I remember it was before I won my pro card in 2011. And Kim, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if I've ever really shared this with you, but it was before I won my pro card by winning the overall at the USA. And I saw him at check-ins and he goes, "Wendy, if you want to swing by my room, I'll take a look at your posing really quick." And he used to do that to all the athletes. Like it wasn't even someone was working with him, someone wasn't working with him. It didn't matter. He looked at all of everyone. Even if he knew they could beat his athlete, he would help you. And I was talking to Matt, and Matt goes, "Take advantage of it. He's my coach. So I'm thinking, okay, if Matt's okay with it, we're good." So I go to Kim's room, and he takes a look at my posing. He makes like one tiny adjustment. Like I had a straight leg, and he had me bend my knee and like crank my hips just a little bit. And it literally changed I've done my pose like that ever since. This was 2011. I pose in that one moment. It was probably a 1 minute, 2 minutes that he spent with me. And that's how I do my pose even to this day, was how he showed me how to do it that one time before I won the overall. And so to me, that just kind of goes to show like how he has always been. So much more than winning, so much more than the pro card. Just the fact that we have somebody in our industry that is willing to give so much to everybody, regardless of whether they put money in his pocket or not. That's a sign of somebody who's genuinely passionate.
You know, I believe in paying it forward. You know, if you do good things for others, it comes back. But I've always been the type that if I can help, I try to help. You know, and it's, what does it cost? It doesn't cost anything. And if you help someone have a great experience, then awesome. They had a great experience, and it always comes back. If you help, it always comes back. And you have all different levels. Like with you, you have certain athletes that I have been around in this industry that I feel like I almost raised them through the industry. One of those athletes. I've been around you for so long. I feel like I've always raised you because you were so young. You were just a little tiny tot. And it's like seeing that little girl grow up from this little teenager thing all the way through. Yeah. And so it's very rewarding. You know, now you're at that upper end, and look at your career. You developed a whole career out of it. So that's awesome. That's amazing. And if I have just this little role in it, that's awesome. I'm glad I helped. And it's all good.
And speaking of athletes, how many Ms. Olympia titles do you have? And you have Arnold's as well. I don't know if you remember the number, but how many do you have?
Right now, I have 7 Olympia titles, and I think I have 13 Arnold's titles.
Wow.
So I have 7 Olympias with five different athletes.
Okay.
I don't remember how many of my Arnold's athletes.
Yeah. So Nicole Wilkins, tell us, and you're currently with Laura Lee Chapatos.
Laura Lee finally got her Olympia title 2024. So extremely happy for her. That was a that was a feel good. You know, when you have an athlete that you know has been working so hard, and they have put time after time, and you're so close that when they finally hit that place where all the little ducks line up and their environment and everything around them is in that perfect place and it's their day, man, I was like, oh my goodness, she did it. She nailed everything, you know, and what a special day for her. I was so happy for her.
That's amazing. So you know what, Kim, talking about Laura Lee bikini. So the first bikini Olympia winner was Sonia Gonzalez, and she was with you. I remember we both when bikini came, they added bikini into the IFBB. It was kind of nice, and everybody. Sonia was actually doing figure, and then she's with, you know. Tell us about how did she make that switch from figure into bikini?
Yeah, she was actually a top 3 figure Olympia girl. And so but she was small, and she was to the softer side for figure. And so at that time we had spoken with JM, and he was like, you really should put her in bikini because she would be a really good bikini athlete. So Sonia and I sat down, and I'm like, I think he's right. I think your structure and your body lines and how your femininity is, Sonia, I think you'll fit that protocol really well. And she didn't even think 1 second. She goes, I like it. I like that thought. I don't, I'm going to be a type of physique that's going to have to struggle to get bigger. That's not my muscular structure. And so, yeah, let's do it. Let's go after it. So she was all in from the get-go, and it fell kind of right into her lap with the way the protocol was. And man, it went right there, and she did really well.
Was that your first Olympia win with Sonia?
She was the first Olympia bikini athlete.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So this was, isn't it crazy? This was our first bikini Olympia. I'm trying to get like a better shot, but this is pretty good showing of what the physique was like. Things have changed a lot, and you've seen it all happen right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, I've been through, when I first started, all that there was men's bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding, and couples. That's all there was. So I've seen the inception of every single division within the NPC and the IFBB.
Yes.
So each division, it's always a gravitation up, within bodybuilding and the bodybuilding arena. So I've seen them all come in, and they come in, similar to that. And then as they refine it, and as the years go, and they define the criteria more, then things become more refined and more structured, and it usually gravitates up a little bit. So a little more structured, a little more capping, a little more detail, things like that. But each division that came in, I'm just one of those. I give it rolls, crawls, jumps. I want to train it. So each division came in, bloop, my little booty would be like, I want to train it. So but it's fun because it's challenging, and it takes you outside your comfortability zone and goes, okay, let's see what you could do here.
So that's interesting, being a coach and having you're kind of like, also, I'm going to say they're a manager in a sense of your eyes there, and then you have a conversation and you have someone like JM pull you to the side and say, hey, she should really consider moving from figure into bikini. How do you manage those conversations? Because that's also what you do. It's not just training the athlete, but coaching them and having those kind of conversations with them.
Well, you have to be well-rounded, and that's where age comes in. Laura Lee and I had a talk, and I told her honestly, I was like, 10, 15 years ago, I don't know if I would have been as good of a coach for you as I am now, because I wasn't able to listen and hear as much as I do now back then. Because back then I was more about agenda and getting things done. Whereas now I listen first, I formulate a whole idea, and then I implement. And so, it's very important that when someone tells me something, and I respect JM, so when we would talk and we would have a conversation, I would listen, then I would think about it, process it, and then I would go to my athlete and say, okay, here's what I'm hearing. Let's you and I talk about it, have a discussion. But you're absolutely right, because the sport we're in is more than just a body on a stage. It's about a whole environment. And there was a lot of things to think about back at that time, because you had magazines and photo shoots and everything else. So I would want to control that whole environment. It'd be like, okay, this is great because we can keep you in a shape for photo shoots. We can get, which Sonia had 5 magazine covers. So we can get magazine cover shoots for you. We can get this, we can get that, and even though I wasn't a manager, per se, I was still doing advisory type stuff. So those were all things that I would take under the umbrella of what I was doing. And I still do that today, it's still in my mentality, but even more so. So, a lot of times, especially like with Laura Lee, we do a lot of environmental stuff. She and I sit down and talk about, okay, let's do more game planning, not only with training and nutrition, but we also talk a lot about, okay, how we're going to set up our environment. And, and her and Aldo do a lot of, their things that they do in their gym and what they do. And I leave that part to them. But she and I talk a lot about how do we control the environment to keep peace and drama free and all that stuff.
So interesting. So very interesting.
So what about the poses? Look at how much posing has changed.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? I mean, this was so
it's more technical.
Yeah. They want to go back to this type of posing for the new division that is forming, I want to get your thoughts on that too.
Well, I think Tyler and them with the description, because I was watching on the Olympia with the guys with Tarek and Tim and Chris, and they were reading the description, and they really weren't talking about posing, and I like that because to me, it should be fit model. It should be more about the walk, and this is just my opinion, guys. This is just I'm not trying to rewrite any curriculum, right? But I think they got it right when they talk about it should be about presentation, the walk-ins, the personality.
Yes.
The not so much the glam, but more about the silhouette, the shape, and how you present it.
Yeah.
Then comparing a body part to a body part. It's about a silhouette in a picture. So you're looking and you're going, "Ooh, I like that picture."
Right.
So them just doing one front pose, one back, one front shot, one back shot, and then everything else being about the presentation. I like it.
I love that. How do you work with athletes and get them to get that across to them? Like, I'll watch and see a female and I think she just needs to learn how to walk. Maybe she needs to take some dancing classes or something. How do you manage that?
Both ways. It's good for them to get, they can do some pageant training, to learn how to hold themselves, how to walk through, how to do walkthroughs and how to do stage walking and things like that, Model T walking and stuff too, that teaches you how to walk chest high, hold things up, have a little swag, and be able to, I always used to tell Janet, when Janet and I worked, for her Olympia win. And I used to always tell her, because she'd always come out and I'm like, no, Janet's posing. That's not Janet.
Janet Layuk? Janet Layuk? Yes.
And I used to tell her, no. Okay. So the year she got her Olympia win, she had done a show before. I said, okay, we're changing it up. Janet, when you come out for the Olympia, when you look, do not look at the judges. Don't pose to the judges. Pose to the camera. You do a photo shoot. Do not post it. You do a photo. And she came out and everybody told me, oh my God, where'd that posing come from? Because she quit posing to a panel and she posed to the camera. Where Janet is dangerous because it opens up her whole persona. It lets personality out. And so it's one of those things where that's what, fit model probably should be. It should be where, yes, if you could do pageant training, do some pageant training. If you could do some photo shoots, do some photo shoots. Learn how to have a little swag. Learn how to smile and look right into a camera and project your personality. So the judges get a feel for what is being part of your makes you who you are. Amanda Latona was really good at that too.
Oh yeah.
Well, that girl. Oh, you could feel her coming out of
I know.
Trained Amanda for a couple of years. You could feel her coming from behind the curtain. It's like, here she comes. Boy, that personality coming ramping out.
Yeah. I always think that makes the biggest difference when I see when it comes down to who's going to win that Olympia. Yeah. And you see that experience. You see, like, from the moment they come from behind that curtain, the way they walk, their hair, their swag, their confidence. That's the difference, because pretty much like all of them look great, right? And
every physique, that's usually, I tell girls all the time, everybody out there is probably going to be very, very good. What will separate them will be that stage. So whether that's their presentation, whether that's their confidence, whether that's how they hit and hold their poses, that's what will be the separating factor. And if you maximize all of those things, your chances of winning will go up and up and up.
Yeah, you said something in the interview that you did with Wendy. Great interview, by the way. And you said something about the sport is more mental than physical. Can you please communicate that to our audience and to the athletes out there?
Being honest with you, the body can take a lot. The mind, it can fall apart real easy. And that's because the stressor points can come from a lot of different directions. So when you go into a gym and you train, that's a small frame of time. You go into the gym and you might train for an hour and a half to 2 hours, but your day is a lot longer time frame. So work stress, home stress, training stress, all that stuff can pound on your mind all day long. Now you combine it with maybe being too many stimulants. So now you're overstimulating your thoughts, the wrong kind of diet where you're on a low carb, low fat diet, and now your energy levels are down. The mind just gets beat up. And now it starts to go. And so 90% of the time, your mind will go way before your body will. And once that mind starts to go, the body's going to follow. So we have to protect our mentality at all costs. So if your mind is strong and healthy and your environment's good, your body will be the same way. So the mind goes, the body follows.
Absolutely. Yep. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
That's pretty powerful.
It is powerful. And I want to say this is something that, we kind of did talk about in our interview that I did with you before. But this is something that I think now that there are a lot more coaches coming on the scene and, you see them come, you see them go, because having longevity like you is very difficult.
Yes.
It's a lot to take. I think early on in the stages of being a coach, it's all the surface stuff, taking photos of your athletes winning and trophies and then eventually everybody reaches a point where, an athlete maybe doesn't win and blames the coach and like there's falling out and you deal with the interpersonal relationship issues and you deal with, energies and tensions and things that are inevitable in any long-term relationship, right? But definitely inevitable in the art of coaching. And you've been through a lot and you said that you've learned a lot. So share some of your insight on going through the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of being a coach and getting through those really hard times that everybody inevitably will have to face.
First thing off, you can't take anything personal. At first I was taking things too personal, and sometimes it's not a right or wrong. It's not that you did anything wrong or the client did anything wrong. Sometimes they just need a change. Perfect example. Nicole won 2 Olympias with me, and then we hit a dry spell where she was having some struggles, and she needed a change. And she went, to work with Hani and I are great friends. And I told her, yes, if that's what you need, if you need a change, you have to do what's right for you, honey, because this is your career. This is what you make a living. And it worked. She won 2 more. Wow. And so yes, you have to swallow your pride. You got to put your pride in your back pocket. But we continue to this day to be good friends. And Hani and I still to this day continue to be good friends, because you have to put other people's well-being above and beyond your own ego. It took me a long time to learn that ego is the worst thing you can carry around. You got to put that bad boy in your pocket and leave it alone. And that took me a long time to learn, because if not, it will get in your way of success. I promise you. Because at some point you're going to very few, and Linda, you could probably attest this too, because you have seen the careers as much as I have. We can count probably on this hand how many people you have seen whose careers have done this.
Yes.
Everybody's career is. like that, including Angela Teixeira, who was one of my favorite champions. And that little girl, when she first, I was like, and then shoo, and so, you know, that career, very few careers skyrocket, very few, and stay up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Careers are a little bit of a roller coaster.
And you know, with that thought in this conversation that we're having, I thought about your process of vetting athletes, right? And they come to you and the big names, and they want to work with you, and then they win the Olympia. How do you manage when you get that product that wins the Olympia, and now because their life has changed, they're making money, they're getting all of this attention, and now you really know that athlete, and you see that they're discombobulating. And I say this because what made me think about this is when I heard you say that you worked with Kelly Ryan, and so you know these athletes intimately. Yes. And I know what it's like when I won the Olympia, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to take you out to dinner, and now you're drinking wine, and now you're doing all this stuff. How do you, because that's so important. That's another level of this. And you know what I'm talking about, Adela. You win that Olympia. And because you have all these champions that have won all these titles, and I know you know what I'm talking about. So can you talk about that and address that?
Ooh, that was good.
That's hot. That's hot.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be honest with them. You have to sit down, you know, and I've had conversations with every one of my top end athletes that have either won top end titles, and I, you know, I've had conversations with all of them, and hard conversations. And the only thing, because I can't save them from themselves, I can't be the one that fixes them. The only thing I can do is give them the best advice I can give them, hope they make the right decisions, and be there to support them however they need me. Should they choose the wrong decision, that's out of my control. And I have watched a lot of my clients, unfortunately, make tragic decisions, and you know, the Amanda Savels and things that happened that were, you know, industry's tragedy. And yes, it hurt bad because they were very close to me. But that being said, you always want the best for your clients, always. And so I do talk to my people a lot, and I give them the most honest, sincere, straightforward discussions that I can. And I give them straight from my heart, telling them I have been down this road, and this is what has been my experience. And please be careful, because this road is a dangerous road. So here's your options. Please choose wisely. And then I leave it to them. And I tell them, you need me or you want to talk with me more, please call me, and we'll talk some more. And then you just pray that they make the right choices. And most of the time they do. You know, most of the time they do make the right choices. You know, and occasionally when they don't, then you pray for them. You know, because then it's in God's hands.
Yeah. That's always that sign. You know,
temptations are hard.
Very hard. When someone wins that Olympia,
Linda, it goes back to the ego.
It goes back to the ego.
The ego is fragile, and it likes flattery. Ego likes flattery. So when people, you know, they adorn you with things, and that's, you know, but that's the side of the sport that you have to be careful of, because that's the side that will suck you. I call it quicksand. Go stay the hell out of the quicksand, because it will suck you down to the bottom.
Hey, Kimbo, I wanted to ask you, did you ever see me getting into quicksand? Did I ever get into it? I think I did at one point.
Did you ever get in quicksand?
Really?
Yeah, I did at one point.
Yeah.
Come on.
I got out of quick thing. I think I did.
Yeah, you touched. I heard you go off a couple of times where I was like, "Uh-oh, she's spinning down the hoop here." I hope she okay.
Wait
Adela,
a minute, hang on.
calm down.
Wait, we need details. Adela, what do you
Oh no, I cannot do that. You know why, Wendy? We have to keep it like we all know what was that, but it was so good. You know, I got out of quick and I learned a lot.
Out a little bit around your injury time. Your injuries were tough for you. That was a tough one, and that would be tough for anybody.
Yeah,
because when you're an athlete and you pride yourself on how working through anything and being injuries are tough. Because you just feel indestructible as an athlete. That's just So I think the injury time frame was hard for you because that was that really stopped you from where you really wanted to be. And
I feel that injuries kind of put you back into reality. Like, hey, this title is not guaranteed. Something can happen at any time, and you're not gonna have it anymore. So. You not only had to be prepared mentally, but I think that was something that actually brought me back into reality. Like this is not mine. This can go with any other girl at any time. So, for me that was tough. And I used to guard that fitness Olympia title so much to the point that when I retire, it's like it needs to go to the right hands. I don't even know why. So for me, like when Oksana won it, I was delighted. It was amazing because she was a good champion. And over time, I just looking at the winners, it was very, very important for me to always be part of it. So, those injuries can happen at any time. And
sometimes they put us on a good path. They make us take a step back and reevaluate, and that's what champions need to do sometimes. Sometimes you need to take a step back and go, okay, let me reevaluate and see, okay, where's my right path?
Right. Yeah. I think too, like to Lenda's point, it's hard for me to imagine that somebody who like Adela and Lenda and some of your other champions, when you reach the pinnacle of success, you are inevitably going to be met with a lot of energies. People want a piece of you. People want to pull you down. People want to like scratch at your armor, and you're at odds with a lot of crazy energies that really do cause people to crumble. So a lot of that, and that's where a coach can really come in handy, because when you have somebody who is in a fragile place but is really looked at everybody as this like superhero who is inhuman, right? I would imagine that that's where you really can step in, and that's where as an athlete like a Lenda and a Adela and like a Laura Lee, you really need you and your shoulder to kind of lean on, right?
They look for sounding boards. And so sometimes it's not that they want you to fix their problem. They just want to be able to get a sounding board to like, am I totally off on the wrong thing here? Or is this?
Those are human.
They just want to, am I being like stupid, or is this like a real thing for me? Am I just being a baby? What's going on? Yeah. And so sometimes you just want to be able to vent and, or sometimes they're like, okay, am I going the total wrong way? And so sometimes it's just a simple suggestion that they go, oh my God, that's, what? I didn't even think about that. That's a great idea. Yeah. Let me do that. Yeah. So you try not to be overbearing, and you damn sure don't be controlling. Right. Because sometimes it's a misperception that girls that are elite level athletes are the most confident girls in the world.
That's not true.
That's not true. They can be just as vulnerable as any other person out there.
Probably more, because you've got like everyone on the eyes on you. That's like
exactly. So they can be vulnerable just like anybody else, and that can be taken advantage of. And so especially by manipulative people. And so it's very important that you don't try to be controlling. You just listen and you try to maybe share a thought or two to help them find their answer. And then you let them pick the answer. Say, maybe here's a couple things you can think, and then you let them pick the answer.
Yeah.
That way they're making the choice.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like they need you to make the choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't make them become codependent.
Yeah. And I think that this conversation also to athletes out there, newbies who you've never competed in a competition, or you have, the importance of a coach.
Yes.
Just as we were talking about at an elite level, when you go through that process of dieting down 20 weeks, you feel magnificent. You feel like Superwoman. The coach also is going to help you because you're not sometimes prepared for what's going to happen after the competition. You may win the show. You could play second. A coach is going to help you navigate from that super high place to go back into a normal, the reverse dieting, just the process of going back into life. So I feel like this conversation also at all levels, you have different, from that NPC competitor who's never competed before. You may think that the conversation we're having where we're talking about Laura Lee, and you always say, I want to win. But there's just this different levels of, and this goes back to that mental and that physical and being prepared.
Yes.
So I know you deal with that.
Yeah, I told everybody, I did a speech on something, I don't remember. And a lot of my certifications are on eating disorders. And Keith Klein, who was Lee Labrada's trainer, nutritionist, he did a speech on the psychology of deprivation. And I did a lot of studying on the psychological aspects of eating disorders. And also because I wanted to learn about what triggers set that off.
Yeah.
And I wanted to implement that into what we do in our industry.
Yes.
So that when our clients came after shows, that I call it the pendulum. So you're at an extreme when you come out of a show. I didn't want to go from this pendulum to this pendulum. And you get that pendulum doing this and you have problems. So I wanted to be able to go reverse diet mentally and physically.
Yes.
So the physicality part of it was the nutrition and the diet. Set it up, give them a reverse diet. So they, just like they ease down, they ease back up.
Yes.
And mentally, do not just drop that gym. Ease back out of the gym. So it's a two-pronged, program that you're doing. Ease back into the food, ease back slowly out of the gym. And in that way, you don't just drop what you're doing. But it's very, I think every trainer should have some sort of background knowledge on these things, because it does help you, especially with female athletes. Female athletes are very different from male athletes, especially from hormone issues.
Yes.
And from, just the difference in it is day and night.
Yep. Yeah. And what brought it up for me, Adela, just the different highs and lows. I mean, very early on, I experienced as an amateur, not expecting like what's going to happen. What am I going to do the next day? I got depressed. Like all of a sudden, I don't have to do cardio. I don't have to eat chicken breast anymore. I didn't know what to do with myself. So I got through that phase of it. And then when I won the Olympia, people always say I want to win the Olympia. Then when I'm like, okay, when you win, you have to be prepared because there's other stuff that comes with it. So having your coach and having close friends and people to navigate through that. When I retired my first time, I got depressed. I started drinking too much.
Wow.
I was like, so I had to go to AA. So this is just me being honest and having this conversation and being open to let people know that, you know, and it is what it is, but I survived it. But I survived it because I had close friends, coaches, people that I could go to and talk to. And from every level, from NPC all the way up to winning your first Olympia, to winning 2, to winning 8, like it's just that mental, only the strong survive.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I just really fast just want to say that, like, Lenda, everything you're saying, it really humanizes you. So thank you, first of all. People look at you, you're a legend, and people look at you like you're not human. And it just kind of came to me. The thing that I believe that has caused Kim to last as long as he has and have the respect and the notoriety that he has is because this is so much more than the training and the diet. Getting somebody to reach their highest level, maybe not Miss Olympia, obviously, but whatever that is, getting through your first prep, your first whatever, being able to have somebody that has studied and learned and had experience understanding the challenges that people face mentally, that is literally what people need a coach for. You know, what people really need is diet and training. You can go to bodybuilding.com and or you can go to ChatGPT and get a diet and a training plan that probably would be what Lenda followed to be Miss Olympia.
That's right.
Being able to help someone's mind, that's the thing.
That's it.
And I feel like nowadays coaching it's so much different than it was back in the day. So you got to be very careful when you find a coach. You got to find somebody that's going to have your back in many, many ways. So, you know, that's what Kim comes, because I still, when I retire, Linda, you know that I have my own struggles too. And
you and I had that conversation.
Yes. And you know, I think Kim reached out to me. I had too many people reaching out to me, but I just got into a hole and I just didn't even talk to anybody for a while. So, you know, it's like coming back around, and it's like whenever I spoke with you, so it was nice to know that, hey, I wasn't the only one that went through this. So, but I have even Mike, it was like trying to get me to come around again. And it took me a while, but you know, that's where you need those people that are going to be there for you, because when you retire, your phone stopped ringing. Like I never, what just happened? It's like, what am I going to do with my hands now? I don't have anything to do. So, you know, it's like overcoming that. But seeing Kim being around all this time, I think is so important. And all I have to say is, like, for anybody out there, any athletes, you got to be careful when you choose a coach.
Well,
so do your research.
That's why consultations are so important. If I had to give one advice to anybody, you know, choosing coaches, do a consultation with them first, please. Learn who they are, what they're about, learn their personality, the style of how they train, you know, get a feel for who they are first. Then if you like everything you hear and you think that, hey, you know what, this is going to work well, we have a fit, I feel really good about the system and everything I've studied, then there you go. Don't do anything blindly, because this is your career, your health, your stability, your mind, all of it. So take your time. Don't rush into it. Make sure it's the right place for you.
Yeah, on point. Yeah, my granddaughter, she came to me about, I'm going to say like a year and a half. And she's an athlete, very mature. She's a mother. And she said she wants to compete. And I was like, oh, okay. And I know all that's involved, right? Yeah, there's my baby. And so she said, after my show in Atlanta, she met with a coach. She said, I'm going to work with Lauren. And I was like, okay, who's Lauren? And then she's like, first, initially, she was talking about bikini. And I don't, you know, I'm not a coach, but I know.
You know a thing or two.
I know a lot about this industry. So when she said she was going to go into wellness, I was like, oh my goodness, you know, and I think about all that goes into it. So yeah, there she is, and she's staying consistent, and she's going to go on her first competition. So Kim, what suggestion, what advice would you give to a newbie going in their first competition?
Yeah.
Give her an assessment.
Well,
Yeah.
she has grandma's structure. She has good genetics, so she's blessed there. She's what I would call a tweener right now because she's young. Her body's young. My advice would be, as far as direction goes, go with where her passion is in training. If she loves, because her lower body could be either or. It could be wellness. If her passion, she loves training legs, and her goal would be, I would like to add a little more size because I like the fuller lower body look. Absolutely gravitate into wellness because she will be going in the direction that she wants to be. So she can definitely be wellness. She has the fuller shoulder crowns, which is a tad bigger than bikini right now, which probably fits the protocol of wellness just a little bit more. Midsection could be either or, could be bikini or wellness. She's about in that range. The legs are a little full, but it looks like she has a little more of her body fat, lower body than upper body.
Yes.
So if she conditions down, she may be right now a little more conditioning wise towards bikini, but she can grow into wellness. Absolutely.
Yes.
So she's got that pathway of either way she wants to go. She could do, when they bring her down, if she's smaller, she could do bikini and then grow into wellness. Or if she just goes, I just love wellness, I love it, then you know what? You go after that passion. You go do your wellness.
Okay. Awesome. I love that.
I love that.
I do too.
I don't know if we have anyone live right now who might want to take advantage of this, but we're offering Kim away for just a moment. If you are live and you're here, if you missed the show live, sorry, missed out. No, I'm just kidding. Kim Oddo offers
Kimbo analysis.
Right. But if you're here and you want a quick assessment, let us know and I'll try to pull it up really fast. But throwing that out there as an offer, anybody is here live with us.
Just look at me. What do you think, Kim? What do you think? What is my next division?
She's partly serious.
Fit model. We could do fit model.
Yeah, you think so? I got it.
Another 10 pounds on you, round you, fluff you up a little bit. You're good to go.
You want me to fluff me up? I don't want to get big anymore.
Yeah.
What's the process, Kim? Like if someone wants to work with you, how do they go about that?
Yeah.
They can just reach out to my office staff. Either they can go on my website, bodybio.com. They can either email my office staff or they can call the number on the website. And my office manager, Kat, will reach out to them and they can set up a free consultation with me. And Kat will set them up with a free consultation and be happy to answer any questions that they have and can set them up with a consult. And, we go from there.
And how long out should they, how far out? Like,
it really just depends. Man, look at all those girls.
Wow.
So awesome.
That's so cool.
Okay,
so that.
There's all my Olympias and all of my, is that just Olympias or is that?
Oh, you get them all mixed.
Kelly Ryan's there, so she won the Arnold.
Yeah, so that's Olympias and Arnold's.
Wow. This is so
Nicole
cool.
Wilkins, there you go. Wow.
Oh, wait,
wow.
we go down.
That's because Kelly won the Arnold's.
The Arnold.
Wow. Right here. Wow, this is so cool. So we've got Kelly Ryan.
Yeah, I love that comment you made about your success as a coach and how, like, you're working with the best in the world, like how many wins you have.
I have been extremely blessed. I cannot say it enough. Actually, Laura Lee's going to get mad at me. We're missing 2024.
Yeah, you're missing 24. What's going on over
Oh,
there?
I'm
Let's go.
exposing you.
We're missing both of her 2024s. She gonna
I'm
whoop
sorry.
my
Well,
butt.
you meant, sorry, Laura Lee.
Oh, you
Yeah.
got a boo-boo. You got a boo-boo, Kimbo.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, she gonna
That's
kick
okay.
my
That's
booty.
right. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going.
But yeah,
This is pretty badass, though. I have to hold on here for a
Yeah,
second.
that's
So
impressive.
badass.
Yes, look at
That's
Gina
impressive.
Liati. Remember
But
Gina?
that
Awesome.
I call being blessed 1000%. That many people trust me with their careers and blessed me, to be a part of their journeys, because I couldn't do it without them. That's the bottom line. Without them trusting me and allowing me to be a part, I could not do it. So
But
I
wait,
am the lucky one.
that's only the Olympia and the international, the Arnold.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
just
probably
almost-
cannot count the other titles that you got under your belt as well.
National
I think I have
champions.
about
Oh, man.
215 pro titles or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's legit. That's legit.
That's
Mhm.
I mean, my
legit.
first Arnold's title was in 99.
Wow.
Mm.
Who was that?
2000. No, it was 2000. It was Kelly.
Kelly. Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's 25 years of pro title.
Incredible.
Yeah, between Arnold's and Olympia.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yep, it says Kim Oddo is a legend and the most recognized coach
Yes.
in women's bodybuilding.
Oh.
He should be the mayor of Temecula.
Oh, yeah. I actually do want to. I'm going to post that again.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We breezed through that a little bit fast. Tarek, if that's you, I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
I love Tarek. Tarek's good for at least one good one-liner all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if it's any,
He came up to me at one show and he goes, "Dude, you're like a silent assassin. We don't hear you. When is it? But boy, when the show is over, you like took somebody out. You're like a silent damn assassin."
Wow. Wow.
That's good. That's what I'm supposed to be.
I like that.
Kim, thank you so much for joining us. I want to give you the last word
yes,
to speak to the athletes out there, the competitors, as far as like staying healthy and just your last words from the legendary coach.
Well, first of all, I always like to thank the NPC and the IFBB, Pro Leagues and Mr. Jim Mannion and the Mannion family for all that they do for us and providing us, and Jake for the Olympia and providing us with a platform for everything that that we get to do on stage, because without those stages we don't have a place to show all of our hard work. So
right.
Jake and Jim and all the judges, thank you guys for that. And to the athletes, don't ever give up your dreams. Don't ever let anybody tell you there's nothing you can't accomplish. But in chasing those dreams and going after it, please do it safe and smart, and don't rush things. Be patient and take your time so that you protect longevity, because you can do this sport as long as you want to do it if you do it smart and wise. Yes. And then that way you can have a long, safe career. And then who knows, someday you may be on Olympia TV and we'll be talking about you.
Oh yeah, I like that.
That's it right there, guys. That's
awesome.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kim, for that amazing wisdom. 35 years.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, and it's fun being with you guys. You're a very talented trio of eights.
That's right. That's right. And from Kim and Adela and Wendy and myself, you guys have a great Friday, and that's it.